Kyle Duggar is transitionally tagged, but what does it mean for the future of Mike Onwenu in a Patriots uniform? Stick around. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage and also your first listen each and every day. Not only is Locked On Patriots a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, but we are also free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So smash that subscribe button, download, subscribe to, follow wherever you get your podcasts to ensure that you get the latest episode as soon as it's available. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. Reach out to me and let me know what's on your mind on X at MDABATENFL. While you're out there showing Locked On Patriots some social media love, follow our account there as well at LO_Patriots. And Pats fans, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Pats fans, it's been an eventful few days here in New England. Kyle Duggar is transitionally tagged, meaning that the Patriots have the right of first refusal if any contract offers come his way. A big step in the right direction to keep a solid member of that defense, that secondary in New England for the foreseeable future. But what does it mean for the Patriots' next most important free agent? Well, he just happens to be a big round man named Mike Onwenu. And if we're talking offensive line, there is no one else in Patriots media that can lend the insight, the wisdom, the counsel that's needed today more than our good friend, a legend himself, Thomas Murphy. Thank you for coming to me in friendship and especially lending your wisdom and counsel that's so needed today, Don Murphy.
Oh, happy to be here, Michael. And it's always great to sit down and talk a little bit. We should do it more often.
Absolutely. We should do it more often. We do it twice
We
a
do
week.
this
You know
every
what?
day, people.
Absolutely, folks. It's still not enough, Murph. It's still
No.
not enough. And I will always say that. Bottom line, I know you saw the news earlier on this week, as we all did, about Kyle Duggar getting the transition tag. This was a move I think a lot of people expected. You and I talked about this earlier this week, that we expected that Kyle would probably be the one to get the tag rather than Mike Onwenu. A $13.86 million commitment to Kyle as opposed to tagging Mike with the franchise tag, which they would have need to have done. That would have cost them approximately $20 million a year. So the Patriots definitely saving a little bit by doing that, but also it buys them time to negotiate a long-term deal with Kyle Duggar. But you and I both know that the biggest needs on this team right now are on the offensive side of the ball, particularly the offensive line. Onwenu is New England's most valued offensive lineman. I think he may be the most valued pending free agent on this team right now. 15 games in 2023, 850 offensive snaps were taken, 194 at guard, 656 at tackle. Yep. Versatility, but more than versatility, leadership and the ability to seal off the edge and protect the quarterback. Murph, I know we're excited about Kyle coming back to New England, but in your estimation, does this make it any more or less likely that Mike Onwenu folds back into the Foxborough fold in the next few days?
I think it's more likely that they're closer to getting something done with Mike than they are with Kyle. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what my feeling is. Often, the Patriots in the past would let a free agent go out and test the waters. It's happened many times before, and come back and they've either matched or gone over. I think that's what they're doing with Mike. I think Mike probably would have been a tad bit upset if he got hit with the franchise tag. Not that that money is that, debilitating or anything, but there's definitely more guaranteed cash in a long-term contract than there is in a franchise contract. So hopefully they're able to get something done. If you go by the numbers that are out there, I think Phil Perry last night or yesterday afternoon quoted a story where Onwenu could get $20 million and then refuted that, thinking that Mike is more around a $15 million a year player, and I think that's where it'll probably come in. If he goes out and tests free agency, even with the added cap space that a lot of folks have gotten, you still have to spend judiciously. And $15 million for a right tackle is right on par.
Hmm.
For a top right tackle is right on par for what I think Mike will get, and I think it's going to end up being a 4-year, $60 million deal with a set of 35 million to or so guaranteed.
Yeah, to be totally honest with you, it wouldn't surprise me if those numbers were bumped up a little bit. Our good friend Miguel Benzon joined me here about 3 weeks ago, and for the first time anywhere, he outlined what a potential contract offer from the Patriots to Mike Onwenu might look like. And he projected between 16, 17, even up to 18. He said he wouldn't be surprised. I don't think the Patriots go that high at this point, but I could see
No,
a 16 to 17 annual per year value of that contract being given to Mike. Because look, I mean, there's no question about it. This guy is someone that is so important to not only the security of an offensive line and a quarterback, but to the development of a young quarterback. And that seems to be the
right,
direction the Patriots are going into. If in fact they're serious about taking a quarterback at number 3, you
right,
need a solid veteran offensive lineman that knows that, and a guy young enough to also remember what it's like to be a rookie in this modern day NFL. There are a
yeah,
lot of solid tackles on the free agent market, folks, and we're going to talk about a few of them in just a moment. So stay locked in. You're not going to want to miss that. But a lot of these tackles are a few years removed from being a rookie. Mike is
right,
not that far away from being a rookie. He understands what it's like coming in a post-COVID NFL and trying to prove yourself. I think that's a valuable part of this as well. A young quarterback can see a lineman like this and know that he can grow with him for a few years and develop a solid relationship. Anytime you hear quarterbacks, previous quarterbacks that have played here, Drew Bledsoe, Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo, Cam Newton, they've always talked about the relationships that they've had with their offensive linemen. It is a key part of this. And this is why Murph hammers this point so much, folks. A solid foundation is the way to build a solid franchise.
right.
And it starts on the lines, it starts in the trenches, and the offensive line is definitely top of that list.
It is. It's definitely the top of that list, and the Patriots cannot go into this draft needing two starting tackles.
Mm,
Okay, I've said it before. If Onwenu leaves, there are no starting caliber tackles on this roster whatsoever. So I'm pretty confident that they're going to get something done. But there are a lot of teams out there that are going to be vying for his services. Mike's good buddies out there in San Diego, the Chargers. I refuse to say L.A. I do.
you're
The
not alone.
Titans could be interested, and look out. The Kansas City Chiefs have ducked into the Patriots cupboard before at the
Hmm.
offensive line spot, and don't sleep on Kansas City coming in and scooping up Mike Onwenu.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at the job that he did in 2023, folks, a lot of teams are going to be clamoring for his services. Probably one of the reasons why the Patriots neglected
Right,
to use the transition tag on Michael Onwenu. That's a common question that I've been getting. Well, why don't they
Duggar.
use the transition tag on Onwenu instead of using it on Duggar? The problem is that you're going to have a lot more suitors willing to match that offer
Right,
on an offer sheet than you will with Kyle Duggar. And I say that with every reverence. I love the
right.
fact
I
that
mean,
Kyle Duggar is coming back.
look at what's happened at the safety position over the last 2 days and
Mm,
the talent that is
yeah,
out there. I'm sorry,
yeah,
I love Duggar, but there are guys out there right now that are more talented than him that just got their walking papers cut and will probably be making less than what Kyle Duggar is under contract for now
right.
for next season.
Exactly. I mean, most notably, our neighbors to the north, Jordan Poyer, looking for
Right.
work right now. Simmons was released by the Denver Broncos. We'll see how long he remains on the unemployment line. My guess, Murph, is it's not going to be that long, but Onwenu unquestionably is someone that will be coveted. 71.5 grade last year from Pro Football Focus, but here are the two stats that jump out at me. Only allowing 23 quarterback disruptions, only allowed 3 sacks all
Yep.
season long. Considering the flux of that line and him having to play both guard and tackle at times, sometimes
Yep.
both within the same game, folks, that says a lot about
And
him.
Bill
So
fought really hard not to do that, not to
he
put
did.
him out at tackle, and this is the reason why.
Yeah.
It's because he wanted to get him signed at guard money
Mm,
long term. Okay, that was the bottom line. This is
mm,
what Bill does. You see guys in the past that would go into free agent years and their workload was shifted, or they weren't used at a certain position and moved somewhere else. They're listed on the roster at a different position. Well, that position was, when it came to franchise tagging and contract extension talks, it was, well, you're a guard.
mm,
You're not a right tackle. You're a guard.
mm.
Okay, and but believe me, that's one of the reasons that he fought so hard to find somebody else to play in that right tackle spot and not move Mike Onwenu out there.
Absolutely. And a very good point. And again, I think it comes back to the fact of Bill doing what he believed was best
Yeah,
for the football team. If he was looking at what was best for his team bottom line financially and not worried about the product on the field, like we heard an awful lot last year, that Bill cared nothing about wins and
right.
losses,
It would have
um,
never happened.
he would have not moved Mike Onwenu. He would have kept him
Right.
at guard and kept him at a reasonable cost. Bill obviously saw the fact that the line was breaking down,
Yeah.
severely needed a shot in the arm, and history will prove that moving Mike Onwenu out to right tackle may have helped to keep this offense at least at a respectable level at times. I know it wasn't pretty all season long, folks, but believe me, if they didn't make that move, it would have been a lot worse. So hopefully cooler heads will prevail. I'd love to see both Kyle Duggar and Michael Onwenu back in New England. I know you all
Yep.
would. Whether or not it comes to fruition, we'll find out in the coming days. The league year, Murph, set to begin at 4 p.m. Wednesday, March 13th. But of course, that legal tampering period coming on Monday, the March 11th, because Murph, as we all know, there's no negotiations going on
No.
between now and then. There's no contact.
No.
The league integrity of the game, Murph. League believes in it. Roger gets up there, talks about it all the
All the time.
time. Murph, we all know that the offensive line is going to be a focal point for the New England Patriots in rebuilding this roster this offseason. We know they're going to dip into it in the 2024 NFL draft, but will they choose to bring some external free agents in? Whether they bring back Michael Onwenu or not, I think this team will explore some external options. And Murph and I are going to talk about who may be on the Patriots' radar because free agency is just around the corner. Who might help to rebuild those lines, and which big round men could Murph be gushing about poetically in 2024? We're going to discuss that when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team. Locked On listeners, passion, drive, and patience is what brings home that winning trophy. You know what? It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. Our good friends over at eBay Motors have everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers to roof racks to exhaust kits, LED headlights, and so much more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Locked On listeners, we've all been there. You want tickets to the big game or your favorite musical artist, and you just can't find an easy and affordable way to get them? Well, you shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event, because Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all of the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. And here's the part I love most. Game Time's all-in prices show your total up front, so you know you're getting a great deal without all those hidden fees. Game Time is actually obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets, and that includes their zone deals, where you pick the section and Game Time picks the seats for an average of 18% savings. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find the tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So again, create an account and redeem the code Locked On, LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots, and joining us here today for the second time this week, as he always does. It's so nice. We always want to do it twice. My good friend, Thomas Murphy. Murph, we already talked a little bit about Kyle Dugger's transition tag, what it means for Mike Onwenu, and whether or not he's going to be back in New England next season. We're both looking at the glass half full, and we're saying that he will be back, that the Patriots are doing their due diligence and trying to work out a long-term deal with him. I think they're trying to do that with both Onwenu and with Kyle Dugger. But you and I both know that the Patriots would love to help beef up this line through the draft and through free agency. Folks, it's no mystery. Murph would love to see the Patriots walk away with number 76 of those Notre Dame Fighting Irish. He'd love to see Joe Alt patrolling that edge for the New England Patriots offensive line for many years to come. We've talked a lot about other linemen that could possibly come in here, not just at tackle, but also at guard. But our friend and colleague, Mass Live's Mark Daniels, over the weekend stated that the Patriots are going to be in the market for a starting caliber tackle in free agency. Now, that's not to say that the guy coming in here is absolutely going to start, but a starting caliber, someone that can bring you either a spot start or be the guy if he wins the job in training camp. And he mentioned a few names. Murph, before I go ahead and steal your thunder on this, because this is your subject of expertise, when you look at the free agent list from top to bottom, who jumps out at you as a potential Patriots target? And do you believe it's the right move to try to bring this gentleman or gentlemen into the fold here in Foxborough?
Well, of course, Tyron Smith jumps out at me. He's a consummate professional, one of the best in the business. The only problem is the fact that he's had a very difficult time staying on the field. You know, at his age, with the breakdown that he's had, but I think that he could come in here and still be a fantastic piece. The guy that I really want, that not a lot of people are talking about, is a man that's played in Cincinnati for quite a long time. That's Johan Williams. He's still only 26 years old. He's coming off a contract. He asked for a trade last year, actually, and that didn't, you know, come to fruition. But he came in and he got moved over to the right hand side, and he did a good job over there. I think while Williams doesn't have the ceiling, didn't have the ceiling coming out of college that he did, he did have a high floor as a pass blocker. That's only gotten better. His pedigree speaks for itself, and I think he would do really well here in New England.
I like the addition of Jonah Williams, and I think there might be a situation where he might be in the Patriots' crosshairs if, in fact, they do decide to go this route. Obviously, Tyron Smith is going to be the guy that most people are watching for the reasons that you said. I mean, this guy has essentially punched his ticket to Canton. I mean, nothing is written in stone, but he's been around for a good long time. He's been with the Cowboys since 2011, number 9 overall pick, 5 All-Pro selections for Tyron, 2 of which were first-team nods, 8 Pro Bowl selections, and he was chosen as a member of the NFL's 2010s All-Decade team. Not just for the Cowboys, folks. That's the entire NFL. Pass protection, run blocking, this guy can do it all. He can absolutely do it all. Ross Tucker said a few years ago about Tyron Smith, and I quote him verbatim, "If you went into a computer lab and tried to create the perfect prototypical tackle, it would be him." Smith does things to guys, toys with them, humbles them that you honestly shouldn't be able to do to people in the NFL. And that's pretty high praise coming from a guy like Ross Tucker. But you mentioned this, and I think this is the key right here. And I wrote about this actually over the weekend for Sports Illustrated about Smith coming in with his share of caveat emptor, folks.
Right.
Recent seasons only suited up for 30 of a possible 67 regular season games. Ankle injuries, hamstring injuries, back injuries. Of course, he had the avulsion fracture in his left knee in 2022, missed 13 games because of that. He played 13 games for the Cowboys in 2023. That was his highest total since 2019.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of reason to maybe feel optimistic, but the Patriots have to be careful here.
Comes down to the money. If he comes in at I don't want to say a team friendly, because our days of people coming in at team friendly numbers are over.
Right. Yeah,
They're
they are.
over. We've talked at length, over the years about two types of free agents: the kind that want to get paid and the kind that want to win titles. Well, you've got to pay people to come here now, and and but if his number is decent, just think about this man. We talk about quarterback mentors. Okay, think about this man mentoring the next generation of
Mm,
offensive linemen here.
mhm.
This is a guy that takes a lot of pride in his work. Even if he's not out there, you can't say that when he is out there, he's ever coasting or just mailing it in because he's made money, because he's got the contract. Um, but bringing him in to mentor a couple of young drafted offensive linemen, I think would be perfect and money well spent.
Yeah, it would be money well spent. And look, Smith is one of the guys that Mark mentioned by name in his piece and said he's a name to watch. So, folks, keep a sharp eye on
No,
Tyron Smith over the course of the next couple of days. Things could get interesting for the Patriots. You mentioned Williams earlier, and I just
yeah,
wanted to clarify a few things. Murph did mention that Williams did request a trade. Yes, folks. The Bengals signed Orlando Brown Jr. last year, and
right,
that made Williams, I guess, feel a little expendable.
yeah,
Eventually, he did rescind that trade offer and did move over to the right
he
side,
did.
and he did a pretty good job. There's not a situation where this guy is going to be easily bypassed on a pass block. He was graded at 63.2 last year, a Pro Football Focus, a negative run block grade percentage of 12.6, and a true pass block grade of 60.9. So this guy
Nice.
can get the job done. And he's someone that I think can handle the rigors and the health requirements that the Patriots are going to need at
Right.
that position. But we are not done breaking all of this down yet because, as we've said several times here on Locked
Yep.
On Patriots, keep submitting your mock drafts during the week because you never know when one's going
No,
to be relevant to the news
that's
of the
it.
day. And one of our very favorite everydayers submitted a mock draft this week that is pretty relevant considering some of the news that's going around with all of the other NFL teams that didn't necessarily do such a good job managing the cap. They don't have a Pat's cap. They don't have a Bill Belichick brain trust to make sure that teams
Right.
spend to the cap but don't exceed and definitely try to manage it year after year after year. You're seeing a lot of that in the NFL right now, and it could mean a windfall for the New England Patriots.
Good.
What do we mean? Who could be on his way in? Stick around, folks. We're about to discuss that and more when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast wraps up right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as Q1 2024 validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of the first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, is a registered broker-dealer. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots, and we are discussing the news of the day from Foxborough, and who better to help us wade through all of the talk regarding Kyle Duggar, offensive lineman, and a subject that's very near and dear to our hearts. In just a moment, my good friend, the legend himself, the Connor Murphy Fisto, Thomas Murphy. Don Murph, we have discussed Kyle Duggar. We have discussed Mike Onwenu. We have discussed free agent options for the Patriots at offensive tackle. But you know what we haven't done yet to close out the week in style here on Locked On Patriots? Throw in another mock draft. We had
Yeah.
we had such fun earlier this week doing them, folks. And we keep telling you, submit them throughout the week because
Yep.
you never know when one's going to be relevant. And sure enough, one of our very favorite everydayers, Jason Sullivan, who you can find on Twitter at Sully6827. He, Andrew Caraway, and LJ live for this time of year.
No.
And yeah, they are on the Mount Rushmore of Locked On Everydayers
Yeah.
without question. Jason submitted a very interesting mock draft. I think very poignant for a lot of the stories that are going around right now, but one of which could be very interesting, Murph, because
Yeah.
our good mutual friend Benjamin Albright, who covers the Denver Broncos out
Yep.
in Mile High, did advise that for Broncos
Love
fans,
Ben.
there are more gut punches coming. And of course, we're all referring to the Simmons release.
Yep.
Sean Payton is putting his stamp on this team, and it means a lot of Denver Broncos mainstays are soon going to be looking for work, or they
Yeah.
might soon be on the trade block. Well, a guy that Patriots fans have wanted for quite some time is wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. In his infinite wisdom, Jason was able to swing a deal to get Jeudy in New England. And without further ado, let's take a look, folks. This mock draft annex that Jason submitted. And as you can see at the bottom of this
Yep.
list here, folks,
Scroll right down to the bottom,
Patriots,
folks.
the Patriots have acquired wide receiver Jerry Jeudy for the
Yep.
number 68 pick and wide receiver Tyquan Thornton. Murph, before we get into the actual grade of this draft,
Yep.
let's grade this trade. What were your thoughts on this when you saw it?
This is an A+ trade. Oh my God. Oh my God. And you all know how I feel about Tyquan Thornton. You guys all know that I am a Slim Reaper apologist. You know, I have never gotten on a guy for being hurt or injured or have a lack of opportunity because of that. And I keep hoping and waiting for this kid to have a healthy camp, to have a healthy season and see what he's able to do. When the Patriots have a line in front of a quarterback that will allow him to get out into the pattern and do what he does best. That hasn't happened here. But if this happens, man, I will do cartwheels up and down Route 1 for a week. This is fantastic. I would absolutely be thrilled if this happened.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people may look at this and say there's no way that Denver is pulling this off, that they're not going to take on Thornton, who is at best a project right now, folks. And again, I've been very complimentary about Tyquan too. I mean, he's one of the fastest players I've ever seen hit a football field.
Right.
But Tyquan Thornton has the ability to be a solid perimeter receiver. He needs to put on a little bulk. He needs to stay healthy. If you look at what Jerry Jeudy did in 2023, maybe this isn't as much of a reach as people may think it is. If you're going just purely on statistics, 54 catches, 758 yards, he averaged 14 yards per reception, 2 touchdowns. I think he's one of the best separating wide receivers in the league. I really do. When he's locked in and he's healthy and he's playing his game, this kid has the ability to separate. Do you think that it possibly could make him more palatable for a deal like this? Or do you think that this is probably a little bit lowball considering what Denver would accept in return?
It's a little lowball. Okay. I think the Patriots might have to throw in something else, another third round pick next year or a second round pick in this upcoming draft. It's which would give me pause because I like this draft and I definitely like the talent in the top 100 in this draft. But to bring Jeudy in here, I would roll the dice. I really would.
Yeah, I think it's worth the effort, and you get someone who is battle tested, who is NFL tested, and now maybe with the right coaching staff and the right motivation in place for him to reach his full potential, you could get the Jerry Jeudy that everybody thought was coming out, in 2020 when this kid was made available from Alabama. I think there is an opportunity here for him to really kind of come into his own, and who knows, maybe it is with the New England Patriots, but. There isn't only one trade in this draft, folks, as you can see on the screen. He brings one in at number 61. The price, starting guard Cole Strange, Murph. This is interesting. I know Strange has not necessarily lived up to his reputation or his expectation of being a first round pick in 2022 just yet. However, when you look at what the Patriots are doing this offseason,
Right.
this is the offense, at least in theory, that he was brought in to protect, that gap zone West Coast hybrid.
Right.
And to me, I think the trade this soon on him might be a difficult thing for the Patriots to do. I'm not necessarily embracing this move just yet. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I thought Strange played really, really well considering the fact that he missed all of camp. All of camp. You
Yeah.
people should see my face right now, and how difficult it is to get back into football shape after missing all of camp. And he played really well when he was in shape and when he was out there. Again, the kid was injured. Out there in LA, you can laugh about taking Cole Strange where he was, but he played really well in his rookie season. And I think that this would be something that I would hesitate about. I really would. But it goes down to what the Patriots think of the moves that Bill Belichick did last year, that everybody was trashing. Will Antonio Maffi make that leap? Okay, is City Sow a cornerstone at the guard position? Bill addressed a lot of the interior of the line last year, and it's if they feel good about this. I don't feel as good about Antonio Maffi as I did going into the draft after seeing
Mm.
him last season. But maybe a new voice on the offensive line. As an offensive line coach can fix what was broken,
Mm.
and this move could end up working out for the Patriots. But I'm not in love with this trade here.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you take a look at what Sully did. And let's bring his draft back up, folks, because
Right.
now that we've talked about the trades, we'll talk about the draft haul here. Obviously, going Jaden Daniels at number 3, quarterback. Jatavion Sanders, we've talked about him. You address that number 61 pick that you acquired for Cole
Right.
Strange in Patrick Paul, one of the better lineman prospects in this draft. You walk away with him, you're doing something right, but you've traded away your guard. And where do you
Right.
go now for guard help? Are you ready, like Murph said, for the City So and Antonio Maffi show? Because Paul really is a natural tackle. I know he can play guard, but do you really want to kick him inside and try to move him
Right.
around? He's got the genetic makeup, he's got the size, the speed, and the strength to be a solid tackle. I think that's where he aligns best. That to me is where the Strange trade worries me. It's not so much getting that number 61 pick. If you invest that in an interior lineman that can come in and play the position at a high level, then yeah, you maybe helped yourself here. But at the same time, if you haven't, you're letting go of a guy that with a
Right.
tremendous upside that's about to come into his own with the type of scheme he's designed to play.
Right. Are you going to spend the money at those at an inside move for a guard at this point when you already have the one on the roster that, you know, fits perfectly into a lot of what you want to do next year?
Murph, before we take our leave of this draft here, obviously we've talked a lot about the guys at the top and the trades. Starting with pick number 104, Cam Hart, cornerback out of
Yep.
Notre Dame. Cooper Beebe, the
Yeah.
guard coming out of Kansas State.
Not going to
He,
be there at 136. He
yeah,
just climbed too much at the combine. You're going to be lucky if you got him at 104.
absolutely. Yeah, I think at this
But
point,
you
again,
you draft the board they give you, and that's
right.
a great pick there.
Yeah, if he's working this board and this is the board that's out there, to pick up Cooper at number
Mhm.
136 is really good. This is a guy that could come in and challenge and be your guard of the future. So I like this move. Anthony Gould of Oregon State at the wide receiver position coming in at number
Yeah.
182 in round 6. And then bringing up the rear here, Jared Wiley, who I think had a very good combine. I
Yeah.
look for him to raise higher than this. I think round 7, 229. I think this kid goes before round 7. I've liked him from the start, and I've been all in on Jared Wiley really since before the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him getting his just due. It's grading time, my friend. When you look at Jason Sullivan's draft, you look at the trades, you look at the haul he got overall. What are we giving Jason Sullivan, Professor Murph, this week?
This is an A-minus draft.
Mm-hmm.
This is an A-minus draft simply because I don't like the Cole Strange move. I like Cole, and but you addressed it later on in the draft. If you were able to get BB, he also would fit into this mold and to what Van Pelt wants to do or could want to do. And there's always the free agent market. So a solid A-minus draft.
Yeah, I would say that as well. I share your assessment of that. Big surprise, folks. I know, but I do for the same reasons. I'm a little leery on the Strange, trade simply because I'm not sure if you've got the cast in the cupboard right now to be able to sustain it, and there's no
Right.
guarantee that you're going to be able to bring in a guard this year that's going to give you what Cole Strange can give you in that type of offense that he's designed to block for. I said it 3 times. I'm going to continue to say that because I think it deserves the point of being hammered home. You haven't seen the full potential of Cole Strange yet, and I don't think it's fair to adequately grade him until you've seen him operate in the system he's designed to block into. So bottom line, folks, always make sure to keep your mock drafts coming in and keep them coming in over the weekend because I know it's free agent day on Monday, but Murph and I are still going to squeeze in a mock draft for you because the more signings happen, the more it becomes clear what positions of need the Patriots are leaving to target in the 2024 NFL draft. So get those mock drafts in, but don't forget, we are also going to be breaking down all the free agent moves right here on Locked On Patriots on Monday. In the meantime, I'm Mike Debate, and on behalf of my good friend Thomas Murphy, I remind you all to stay safe and to stay well, and to be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow on Locked On Patriots.